welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to another in my little series of videos about how to prepare for police driving courses. And in this particular video, I'm going to cover the standard or response police driving course. It's the same thing, it's just called different things in different police forces. I was in Lancashire Police, it was always called a standard course, so I'm going to refer to it as a standard course in this video, but I am also referring to a police response course when I call it a standard course. So a standard course generally is 3 weeks long, and I'm hearing reports that there's quite a lot of police officers now waiting a long time for standard car courses. It used to be that you did 2 years, certainly in my force anyway, you did 2 years, finished your probation, and after 2 years you get your standard driving course, and you'd go to the driving school and you do 3 weeks and you come away with a standard driving permit. These days it seems, probably part of this is the introduction of the basic driver permit, in that we've got more police officers who are qualified to drive police cars, just A to B. There probably isn't quite the push to get drivers on standard response courses, but I am hearing that some officers are waiting 7, 8, 9 years before they get the first standard driving course. So I can understand that some people are nervous about that. You know, they've waited so long for a driving course, they don't want to wait that long again, that they want to prepare properly. They want to prepare themselves, get themselves in the strongest position they can do before they start that driving course. So there's a couple of things I'd say to you before we go into how to prepare for the course. The first is this: you're going on a standard car course, you are more than likely going to be a serving police officer or maybe a special constable, and as such you will already have sat in the passenger seat next to other response drivers and other standard qualified drivers. So the first thing I'd say to you is, don't pay any attention to what those drivers have done. You're not really going to learn very much from other standard drivers, and that's because everybody develops their own style once they've passed the driving course. Your colleagues who have already qualified as response drivers, as much as they might think different, are not the best people to give you advice, A, about police driving, or B, about how to pass that course, because everybody's different when they go on the course. But of course everybody develops their own driving style, and over time that driving style will fall out of favour with what's expected from you on a police driving course. So it's really important to remember this. Well, they might give you a few tips, they might tell you what to expect on the test and on the course. When you're sitting next to them and you're watching them driving and responding to incidents, well, don't think that you're learning stuff that you're going to put into place on your course, because you're not. Those of you who are already advanced or response drivers know what I'm talking about here. And here's a couple of other things you need to do or check before you even think about preparing for a standard driving course. Make sure your driving licence is up to date. Your driving licence itself will be valid until you're 70 years old. But your photocard licence expires every 10 years. So make sure your photocard licence hasn't expired. It's very embarrassing turning up at driving school on day one for a driving course you've been waiting years for, to find that your photocard licence has expired and you're driving on an expired licence. Check this 3 months before you go on your driving course. Give yourself time to get a new driving licence back from DVLA if you need to. And get your eyesight checked. You should get your eyesight checked regularly anyway as a driver. You should, as a bare minimum, be able to read a number plate at 20 metres, but some police driving schools have a higher standard of eyesight than that. So go to an optician's, get your eyesight checked. If you wear glasses, make sure your prescription is up to date. And take your glasses with you on day one of your driving course. Don't go, I've left them at home. I suppose the other thing as well, if you have any health conditions, make sure they're fully declared and make sure you discuss them with the driving school, probably before you go on your driving course. So what are you going to learn on your driving course? Well, at the end of it, you will get a permit that allows you to drive low performance police cars. That sounds a bit boring, it's not. They're measured on a particular scale, which I can't really, I'm not even going to go into any detail about. But police cars are split into low performance and high performance. High performance are more specialised traffic cars, ARVs, things like that. Low performance are what we used to be called panda cars, local response cars. Each individual force will have its own policy that dictates what vehicles you can and can't drive. And as a standard driver, if you pass the course, you will be able to drive low performance police cars, and you will be able to use exemptions and use emergency equipment when responding to incidents. So those exemptions, on the whole, the main exemptions are exemptions from speed limits, exemptions from red traffic lights, and exemptions from keep left right bollards. And there's a few other little exemptions in there as well. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. That's the stuff that you learn on your course. I'm not here to teach you that stuff. I don't have those exemptions anymore. Now, generally, the way that we used to run standard police driving courses in Lancs was we would do 2 weeks in unliveried cars. And during those 2 weeks, we would teach you the basics of driving to the system of car control on approach to hazards. So as part of your preparation for a standard police driving course, a response driving course, you should get yourself a copy of Roadcraft. Get the most up-to-date copy of Roadcraft. Be able to get it off Amazon or any other bookshop. And Roadcraft is the police driver's manual. It's an accompaniment to a police driving course. All the civilian advanced driving organisations teach to Roadcraft as well, so IAM, Rossborough, etc. They drive to Roadcraft, but it is very specifically a police driving manual. So it's important you have a copy of Roadcraft and that you have a copy of the Highway Code. So here's how to prepare for a standard driving course. As an instructor on a standard driving course, if I had somebody turn up who could drive smoothly, operate the car's controls smoothly, and was making a bit of an effort to drive in a systematic way, I would be happy. Remember, you've got 3 weeks. The 3rd week of your standard driving course, you'll be taught how to respond, how to use blue lights and emergency equipment and sirens to respond safely to emergency incidents. And included in that will be how to use your exemption from speed limits and red lights and things like that. You'll be assessed at the end of week 2 to make sure that you are safe and ready to go on to week 3 before you do your blue light and your response training. So to prepare for a standard driving course, you don't need to be doing response driving, you don't need to be doing blue light driving. All the preparation that you want to do is for that assessment at the end of week 2. So you need to get yourself ready for the normal driving, the normal systematic driving that you're going to be learning on your standard driving course. So I'm going to put a link in the description below to a video about the system of car control. And that will give you a fundamental outline of what's required and how the instructors and the examiner will expect you to drive at that week 2 assessment on your standard driving course. And this is what I want you to go and practice in your own driving. I want you to practice applying the 5 phases of the system of car control. Those 5 phases are information, position, speed, gear, and acceleration, in that order. And it's the order in which you do those things that is really important to getting you through your standard driving course. Your examiner, your instructor will want to see you taking in information, looking in the distance, working out a driving plan as to how you're going to go around a hazard. And when you get to that hazard, using the 4 action phases, position, speed, gear and acceleration, to deal with the hazard. I want you to practice braking smoothly but effectively. I'll put a video in the link below to show you how to use your brakes effectively and smoothly. I want you to practice steering smoothly, so no sudden steering inputs. It should be smooth and controlled all the time you're steering the car. If you drive a manual car, I want you to practice nice smooth gear changes, because once the speeds pick up and you get into those exemptions and you start using that exemption from speed limits, the smoother you can be with the car's controls, the better and the more controlled the drive will be. And above everything else, the hardest thing to learn on your driving course, especially if you are learning in a manual gearbox car, is the separation of braking and changing gear. So that's braking, finishing your braking, and then changing gear. This is the thing that most people struggle with. Now trust me, when you get to week 3 and you're doing response with your blue lights and your sirens, and you're looking for a reaction from other traffic on the road to your blue lights and sirens, system will make perfect sense. But up to then, you'll struggle a bit with it. Anyone who tells you they don't struggle with that separation between braking and changing gear isn't telling you the truth. So before you go on your driving course, before you go on your standard car course, just practice that. Braking, finishing your braking, and then changing gear. Don't forget, it's a 3-week driving course. You're out there with an instructor every day. They will get you there. Whatever problems you think you're having, they will have seen it before and they will have dealt with it before. So put yourself in your instructor's hands, trust them. They'll get you through the course. But in the preparatory phase, in the bit where you are preparing before you go on the driving course, just practice braking, finishing your braking, and then changing gear, rather than braking and changing gear at the same time. So if you're coming off a motorway slip road, for example, don't brake and change down from 6th to 5th to 4th to 3rd to 2nd. It's all unnecessary, that. You don't need to do that. Instead, practice braking once and changing gear once. Keep your workload down to a minimum in the car and keep your inputs smooth. And if you can turn up at the start of your driving course, applying those 5 phases of the system of car control and driving the car smoothly and under control, well, your instructors will be over the moon. They'll think they'll be on a winner there. Now, one of the other things you might want to practice before you go on your standard car course is a bit of commentary. You will be expected to do a little bit of commentary as part of your assessment. And commentary is a really useful skill to learn as a police officer driving police cars. You might get behind a vehicle at some point that fails to stop, and you might need to give a good detailed commentary about what that vehicle's doing, where it's going. And you need to be able to do that in a calm and measured fashion, so that other officers in the control room can get a detailed picture about what's happening during that situation. So commentary is a useful skill to learn, and it's not complex. I'll put a link in the description below to a video where I cover how to do a good commentary. And don't forget, you will be taught how to do this on the course. So you don't necessarily need to learn this in detail before you go on the course. But if you've had a go, then it's a good starting point for you when you get on that course initially. And all I want you to do in a commentary is tell me what you're looking at down there and what you're going to do about it. That's it. Nothing more than that, nothing more complicated. So up ahead I can see the road bending round to the left, and on approach to a left-hander I'm going to move my position towards the centre line. I'm going to check my speed against the movements of the limit point. My speed is okay, my gear is okay, and I don't need any further acceleration to go around. There's the 5 phases of the system of car control. The other link I'm going to put in the description below is a link to my playlist. It's the full set of videos that will show you how to pass any kind of advanced driving test. And that includes a police standard and police advanced driving test. So if you want to know more detail about all these different elements of the course and what you'll be expected to do, go and have a look at those videos. But in terms of preparation for your standard car course, if you can learn a little bit about system, get your head around Roadcraft, get your head around the 5 phases of the system of car control, have a go at separating your braking and your changing gear, and try a little bit of commentary, you'll be in a really good position at the start of that driving course. And from there, let your instructors build and develop on the knowledge that you're learning on that course. So that's it for this video. That's how to prepare for a standard driving course. In the next video, I'm going to look at how to prepare for an advanced police driving course. So don't forget to go and have a look at the website, racelocal.com. There's loads more information there about advanced and performance driving and riding, and how you can get a day's driver coaching. You know, if you do want to come and have a day's prep for a police driving course with me, drop me a line, we'll sort something out. But for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.